till shade is gone,
till water is gone,
into the shadow with teeth bared,
screaming defiance with the last breath,
to spit in Sightblinder's eye on the last day.
by my honor and the light.
My life will be a dagger for Sightblinder's heart.
Until the last day. To Shyle Ghul itself.
This is A Dagger for Sightblinder, a podcast focused on all things Wheel of Time, with your hosts,
Sarah Lucas
and Adam Tricola. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Dagger for Sightblinder. May you find shade this day, including you, Sarah. How are you?
Thank you, Adam. I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good. I noticed that you didn't also hope that I get shade.
I just assume that you're hogging it all the time.
That's fair. That's a good fat joke.
That's not a fat joke.
Look at Adam hogging the shade.
I was actually just saying that you're greedy.
That's why there are no fat IEL, so that they can fit as many people in the shade as they can. You don't
That's
know about
why.
the IEL, yeah. And also, they're a warrior society that does a lot of really badass things, and they don't have time to be fat. So you know, unlike me, who just stares at the screen. So. Anyways, the show's over, Sarah.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you. What are your thoughts overall right now?
I'm a little sad that it's over. I'm debating watching the whole season again. Like straight through.
Like binge watching it, or you're thinking like doing a once a week kind of thing?
No, like binge watching it.
Okay.
So I feel like I have to.
Okay, tell me about it. I'll binge watch vicariously.
Oh, okay.
But vicarious binge watching, it's gonna be a thing.
That'll go really well.
Yep. I can tell.
You're gonna get annoyed real quick. I sense
a
block in my future.
I have a good feeling about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be good. No, that's cool. I don't know if I'm gonna. I'll watch it again before the season 2. I doubt that I will actually get around to it until then, though, because if I'm just being honest, I love Wheel of Time. I love the books, and I love that we have this, that we're doing the podcast about the books as well. Don't regret that, and I don't regret doing it about the show either. But the show itself didn't grip me the way I was really hoping for. It was intriguing, a lot of parts of it. A lot of parts were different, and it inspired my imagination or caught my imagination, whatever. But at the end of the day, I spend very little time thinking about the show now, and that's kind of a good metric for me, at least, for interest. Of if I'm thinking about it and I can't wait to watch the next one, then it did a good job in general.
Yeah, that's a good point. So which is why I feel like I need to watch it again, because I really enjoy, and binge watching in particular, because I enjoy watching shows straight through once they've been a weekly release. I feel like it tends to flow better.
I feel like you were just telling me about Hawkeye, that you did that and you didn't get a favorable result either. So
yeah,
that's too bad.
But I did it with Winter Soldier, and that was a favorable result.
Oh, okay. Well, good. So 50% favorable results. I mean, that's a passing grade in Canada, so we're good.
It is a passing grade in Canada.
I almost did a spit take anyway. So
damn it, so close. Do you want to do our shameless plug, because we haven't done it in a minute?
Oh yeah.
Before we move on.
There's the shade. There we go. Okay, yeah, I'll be happy to, though. So everyone, we've actually been growing in downloads and everything. It's been exciting. It'll be very interesting to see how it all plays out. Now that the show's over, there's going to be a lot of people who don't listen to this cast because they're not as interested in the books, and that's fine. But if you have been enjoying it and you haven't done it already, we would really appreciate you going on to a couple different places just to support us for free, like easy free ways to support us. Just like if you're on iTunes, you could give us a 5-star rating and a review. Those help a lot for visibility. On PodBean, you can just hit that follow button. We actually got passed by, we were in 9th place for a little bit.
Yeah.
And now we're in 10th again because some D-bags started getting more followers than us. So, we're okay for now, but our visibility is threatened, guys. We need more followers on PodBean, and that one's really easy to do. Just hit
follow.
Hit follow, and if you don't even have to be signed in. Apparently, you'll just be assigned a random number. So we would really appreciate that. Any likes that you can do on whatever platforms you're on, that's really helpful. And then we've been growing a little bit on YouTube. We have 53 subs. Woo. This is my personal YouTube channel, is like about to hit 10K. Like we're getting there though. So 53, I know, but it's actually been steadily growing for the level of investment that we put on it. But we want to use that as a future potential platform to make other content for Wheel of Time. And we're not going to get anywhere with just 53 subs. So if you haven't done that yet, we would really appreciate that. Help us with the algorithm and everything. Did I miss anything?
Join our Discord server.
Oh, yeah. So our Discord server, in the show notes, you can find a link to the Discord server. It's a chat area if you haven't been on Discord before. It's and we've got it on lockdown in terms of spoilers. So if you don't want to spoil yourself, you don't have to worry about it. We have a general discussion, but then and that's like, don't talk about spoilers there. But then you go in and assign yourself spoiler roles, or like roles that you want to do, and it's really easy. You just click buttons. You don't have to like type in a complicated like bot command or anything. You just say, oh, I want TV show spoilers, and click the TV show button at the bottom. So then that opens up the right room for it, and then you can talk about the TV show. So yeah, it's pretty fancy. Sarah set it up for us. Though, to be fair, I totally was the one who came up with the idea. So
you did. I did give you credit for that.
Yeah, thanks. You're the non-lazy one of us.
Right. I just did all the work.
Right. Well, it's good. Yeah.
Cool. As long as we're clear there.
Right. And you probably would have come up with the idea too. I just wasn't doing anything at the time, so I was able to articulate it earlier.
Awesome. Cool. Well, now that we've done that, do you want to move on?
I'm the lazy one, remember? I don't know if moving is really in the books.
Right. Okay. So I'll just decide. Let's move on. The show is done.
We're moving on from the show. Wow.
Well, I mean, not quite yet, but now that it's done.
Oh, the show is okay. I see. I thought you meant the podcast. I was like,
oh, no.
I was like, that's so messed up to do that while we're recording.
No.
Heartless. I've decided to see other podcasts.
Final episode. No. The season of the show of Wheel of Time itself is done.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely is.
So, the showrunner, he did like an interview, and I think it's got some pretty cool points that we could talk about.
Yeah.
Because he kind of goes over like the finale and why he changed some things and a lot of things actually.
Could we let's put this link in our
show notes.
The show notes, and I'll put it on the YouTube channel as well, in the video description, so you guys can go and see it yourself if you want to, because we can't really cover all of it.
No. It is a pretty quick read. I think there were some interesting little tidbits of information in it. The first one that stuck out to me was that he mentioned that if all goes according to plan, the series will be 50 to 60 episodes long.
Right. Well, yeah, he was like, well, even if everything goes perfectly, then we'll only have 50 to 60 episodes. Like he did say it a couple times of, I hope the show continues, because it hasn't been approved for all 8 seasons yet.
Right. So 50 to 60, that's 7 to 8 seasons. If you're doing 8 episodes.
That would take like a full, like really long weekend to be able to binge watch all of that.
Yeah. That'd be fine. It's doable.
For you. Totally. Right. Yeah. It's within your powers.
It's within my powers. That was the first bit though that stuck out for me. He talked a little bit about the decision with Moraine, with whether or not she's been stilled and all this, which I didn't really follow. I kind of understood his reasoning, and he wants to make sure Moraine has a story arc. Right.
I'll be so interested to see what they end up doing with her, but it sounds like what he's doing, like they wanted to mostly go for book 1 things, and then in this next season we're basically taking on all, like, some things from season 2 and 3 were in the first season, but now he wants to take on things that happened in books 2 and 3 in the next season in general. So like that's kind of what I got from it anyways, was, and in one of those books, Moraine and Lan do kind of just sit out a little bit, like that they're not as prominent. They're in there but not as prominent, and right. Of course their big name actress, their big name talent, whatever, is Moraine. That they can't just sit her on the bench.
Yeah, they need to utilize her.
Yeah, like she's very clearly important to them. She gets audiobook deals, she gets preferential treatment, she gets a lesbian story, like love interest, whatever, she gets all kinds of things she didn't get in the books. So and I'm good with it. Actually, she is great. She's one of the highlights of the season, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, so it's fine. I think I just like that he was addressing it. And then the last one, which you pointed out to me that it was in there at the very end, which right. I will preface it with spoiler if you don't want to know, because he does confirm this. Yeah. Spoiler: Loyal is not dead
yet.
So I'm happy about that. I didn't think we could kill him. Didn't want to kill him.
Well, so you say that, and maybe he won't die, but gosh, okay. So he says, let me see if
you can find the exact quote.
Yeah. Okay. So he says, Loyal is not dead. He is alive and well and shooting in Prague, because they're shooting season 2 right now. And he said, I wanted people to be a little on their toes because real deaths are coming for characters that don't die in the books. We have to, because we can't hold 2000 series regulars through multiple seasons. It's coming, and I want people to emotionally prepare themselves. The thought that Loyal might be gone will hopefully start to get people emotionally prepared, but I couldn't. He's my favorite, which I think is this load of crap, because Loyal gets like 3 lines in each episode, and that's it. He's like, I say this cool Loyal thing. Here's another loyalism. Here's another. Oh, shut up.
But so are you thinking it's a load of crap that he's the favorite, or a load of crap that you don't think he's alive?
Oh, load of crap that he's his favorite, because it's false. It has to be false, right? I mean, I'm glad he likes Loyal. I don't want him to die. I actually, despite his weird appearance, I got over that pretty quick. And
me too.
And I want more Loyal. He's way more interesting than Perrin so far. I mean,
friggin' Perrin.
I don't know. I need to stop harping on that. I just on our Discord server, so like it
Yeah.
auto links the videos that Amazon puts out on them, and
Yeah.
the thumbnail was of Perrin.
You're like, look at him
Yeah,
doing
look.
nothing.
Yeah, look, another picture of Perrin standing there.
Doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I thought that was interesting. I think it makes sense that there would be deaths coming that aren't necessarily the same as what's in the book, but it makes me worry.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, here's the thing. I think it just in general, Robert Jordan is a little too forgiving on his characters throughout the
Right.
series. And I can't, that there are absolutely deaths in the series. And I don't want to, I can't give away like who, that's not going to be spoilers, but I always felt like there are even a couple times that people die and then they just like it just rewinds and oh look at that, it's like they're back alive. Oh, I shocked you, but I didn't really want to kill these characters.
Right.
And in general, I applaud that about authors. I think the shock value that they do in Wheel of Time, I realize some people like it, and I don't want to demean what their preferences are, but for me, the shock value of losing a character that you've built up in an entire story, like in book one, they kill, spoiler alert for Game of Thrones, like you kill Ned Stark. After you spend an entire book building up this character, he still had a lot of cool things he can accomplish and a lot of really strong value to the narrative, and they just get rid of him just to shock people. I personally, that I found that a little bit off-putting, and so I typically approve of characters living longer than they should.
Right.
I think I'm in the show. I guess I can see the value of every once in a while giving people the axe, or at least like exiling them.
Right, and then you can it has that shock factor. It keeps you intrigued. You want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Well,
and we've said it a few times. It's a new spinning of the wheel. If people
Yeah.
die here this time, then that's fine. They didn't die in the books. Like we have two versions. It's good.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so I will put that in the notes, 'cause then people can read it if they want to read it. And if they don't want to read it, they don't have to.
No, they have to, even if they don't want to. The guy, he said that there's 17,000 pages of Wheel of Time.
I didn't realize there were that many.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, because I've been listening to them on Audible.
Well, it just depends on what size of text you want, too. So.
Right. Very true. And now I have some of them.
Oh, yeah. Look in the background if you guys are watching on the YouTube version of this. Yeah.
Christmas is good.
Good job, Christmas.
Good job, Christmas. All right. Okay, so do we want to go into the book? And is there anything else you want to talk about show-wise? I feel like there's nothing else.
No, I'm gonna keep an eye on the news or whatever, maybe at some point. But otherwise, I just think I don't know. I want to talk. Of course, I have all these things to talk about the show, but we could spread them out over episodes because there's nothing pressing. What about you? Anything else you want to say? Because the book is exciting too. We're getting to the exciting parts of the book.
Yeah, we're getting to some good stuff. I don't think I have anything else. That's a good idea to spread out our thoughts though over the next episodes.
Right. We don't have unlimited thoughts.
Yeah. I have thoughts. It's fine. Maybe I'll just write them down so I don't forget.
Good. I wish I had done that.
Your thoughts are gone. Cool. So let's go into the book. So into Eye of the World again.
And spoilers for everything leading up to Eye of the World, which is book 1, up through chapter 45.
Yeah. So we're going to do those next 5 chapters, 41 to 45. But I mean,
we will
anything
probably,
before that
is
fair game.
We'll probably we'll probably discuss anything on the show is also worth, because if we're comparing things to the show,
right, absolutely. Which
Yeah.
some of this is in the show. So cool.
So
Let's hop in.
okay.
Cool. So chapter 41 is Old Friends and New Threats. This is sort of kind of in the show, except that they're not in Camelin. So this is after Rand has left the palace from when Morghese, lets him go, even though Elaida doesn't think she should.
Yep.
So he leaves. He goes back to the Queen's Blessing Inn, where Basil and Loyal are hanging out, and he tells them all about meeting the Queen. And it sounds like this crazy story that he's telling. And then eventually they, end up believing him. And Basil suggests that Rand and Matt need to leave. And he's like,
because he's Elaida is
Yes.
there, right? Like Elida's gonna try to capture
Yes.
them, obtain them.
Yes. So he's like, you gotta go. You gotta get your stuff and get out of here. And Loyal is like, oh, I want to come with you. So that's
Taviran.
Yes, exactly. He's all pumped about this Taviran thing. So then you've got White Cloaks arriving at the inn while this is happening, and they're looking for two dark friends that have come from the Two Rivers. And while that's kind of going on, I can't remember who it is. Someone tells Basil there's a woman in the kitchens asking for Matt and Rand by name. And Rand thinks that it's Elaine, and then realizes that he never told them about Matt, and Matt doesn't know about Elaine, so it can't be Elaine, which I thought was very humorous. But anyway, so they run down there, and it's everybody. Moraine's back, Lan's back, Nynaeve, Egwene, Perrin, everyone's all gang's back together. So that's fun. And then everyone, notices that Matt is sick, because Matt's in his full-blown emo dagger phase here.
Dagger phase. Yeah.
Emo dagger phase.
Oh yeah, he has that creepy lie. Doesn't he call Nynaeve pretty Nynaeve or something?
Yeah, that's right. He does. He's so creepy here. And this is when Moraine tells everyone to kind of stay away from him, and she goes up to him, and Matt tries to stab her with the dagger.
Yeah.
Lan stops it, and then everyone gets kicked out. Moraine's like, leave, I gotta deal with this, and everyone gets kicked out while she's gonna try and deal with Matt.
Yeah.
So that's the chapter.
Pretty epic. Yeah. So yeah, Rand hasn't told him all his story yet, though, I don't think.
No, he has not.
Yeah. I thought, this was it, after a period of all of them branching out and doing their own thing. I kind of, it's nice to have everyone get back together.
And I like in this, you've got that. It's slightly different from the show, because they cut out Camelin entirely. But you still have, Matt trying to stab Moraine, and
they had a really watered down version of it. Which is in the show that was fine, but for the book, this felt good, because after Rand and Matt have been through so much, and really so have Perrin and Egwene, and so have Lan, and all of them have had a lot going on. Perrin has yellow eyes. I feel like they notice his eyes at some point, either here or in the next chapter.
So everyone just is back together, and I think they notice his eyes in the next chapter.
And this is the point where you also realize that Matt isn't just being affected by the dagger. He's also, well, I guess it is just the dagger, but he's still, I don't know. The dagger is, it has I don't know. I guess at this stage, this is where I realized that the dagger was more than like he's really doing, like it's really a destructive force in his life. It's not just making
Right.
him annoying, it's actually actively like taking over, basically. Like he's almost like powerless against it. He's sick. He's
Right.
got some kind of sickness he doesn't know how to deal with.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So in the next chapter, Remembrance of Dreams, this is when, they're all in the library while Moraine's doing this. So he has to introduce them all to Loyal because they don't go into the library right away.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of funny. And he's, telling them his story, and Perrin's asking Loyal about steadings and if they're actually like a place of safety, which I thought was interesting because he had just been in a steading. But which is kind of like a neat little correlation, because he had been in a setting as a place of safety and it didn't turn out to be a place of safety for him.
Right.
So it's kind of cool that he's asking Loyal whether or not they actually are.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there was more in the context of, is this place of safety if they're Ogier there, at least.
Right.
I mean, I can't imagine that Ogier would actually allow the shenanigans that the White Cloaks and the Wolves got into.
Right.
Yeah, but it was cool. Like the fun thing was, so they're all in their adventures, and this is kind of what it feels like, an adventure, like a role-playing game where you have your adventure and then you go back to town and you buy supplies and you level up. And
yeah,
like you've been dungeon crawling this whole time and you're like, oh, this is a cool item, but I think it is, but we gotta use some magic thing to identify it, so we can't use it. Like, we'll just put it in our pack and find out later. And so they get back and like Perrin's acquired yellow eyes. And
yeah, exactly. And Rand notices this because like Perrin, I think Rand first notices actually that Perrin's not looking up at them. He's like kind of looking at the ground and stuff, and then he notices his eyes. But yeah, that's exactly what it's like. You're out, everyone comes back together, they eat, they sleep, they rest.
Right, yeah, they restore their hit points, they get their magic spells back to get back in place. And and they're all stronger now because they're all Perrin's like, I didn't know anything about steading, and now I can talk to an Ogier intelligently, like knowledgeably about steadings, and we can actually have this conversation.
Yeah,
like I am wiser now for my travels. And
yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and Rand has matured and gotten better at, maybe he's not better at the sword, but he's better, he's practiced all, like he knows how to talk to, the different innkeepers, and do his spiel about just playing for a meal. And they've all just gained really important just life experience. It's
right,
but and they can kind of see each other instead of all of them just being coddled by Moraine as she takes care of everything. They all realize they're competent in their own right.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good.
Just like it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Okay, so then Moraine, Matt, and Lan enter, and Matt is relatively back to himself. Moraine's explained she can't really break the bond fully that's formed to the dagger because she's not strong enough. She needs more Aes Sedai with her from Tar Valon. And you do kind of see like a little bit of the old Matt here, which is nice because he's joking around and everyone's more upbeat and having a good time. Until like Matt kind of like slowly he just like casually puts his hand in his coat pocket, and everyone like it's a total buzzkill move. But that's when Moraine also explains that he still has the dagger. Like the dagger's got to stay with him because she can't fully break it. So it's enough to like slow it down, stop what's happening, stop the shadow spawn from following them.
Right. It's not a total like you can't have a total success.
Right.
he's still cursed. You have to get to a bigger town to
Right.
find the stronger priest to break the curse or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting. And then there is like this whole conversation that Moraine has with Rand as well about his dreams, and because he's been having these dreams with Balsamon in them.
Right. The ones that I just skip because they're boring to read.
Yeah,
about.
the ones that you don't pay any attention to.
Yeah. Well, we have you for that. It's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So you're gonna love it. We're gonna talk about one eventually.
Great. Yeah, we'll just totally stick handle that.
Yeah. But she says that because of their nature being Taviran, it's easier for the Dark One to find them and to be careful and be wary of his dreams and all this kind of stuff, which is, interesting and doesn't bode well for them.
I wish that she gave him a remote that he could just fast forward his dreams on.
Because you would like to fast forward those moments. Yes.
Yeah, that means I don't have to. It's good.
Right. So during all of this, by the way, I forgot, Moraine does get introduced to Loyal as well, and she kind of like blows him off and ignores him, which I think annoys Loyal a little bit, but he's too polite to say so.
Fair.
I think that's the vibe that I got. But then she decides after all this, she's like, we got to go to the Blight. And she like looks at Loyal and I was like, yeah, Loyal's coming with us. He's gonna help. And she's got a plan for me.
Yeah, it's cool. And Rand does tell them the whole story about how he went to the palace and everything.
Yes.
And I think so there's this interesting thing where he tells them all, even about Elaine and everything. He doesn't tell them that she thinks he's handsome or whatever, but he does tell. And apparently, so in this part it doesn't tell us this, but apparently Egwene just disbelieves him. And then later in the just a few chapters later, we might even cover them in this chapter when they're doing their a lot dark along the way, so they'll go into the ways, and at some point they mentioned Elaine again, and she's like, who was Elaine? And he says, oh, the daughter heir. And she's like, oh, if you're not going to be serious about this. She just decides not to trust Rand. Like he tells this fantastical story that everyone believes about the whole thing, but then she just randomly decides that he's lying about Elaine for some reason.
Yeah.
It's not apparent right here.
I did no, and it's not, but I did notice that in the later chapters, which we can get into when we get there. There's a fun little dynamic, I thought. But we'll get into that.
I'm sure we will.
Okay, do you want to do the next chapter? Because that's basically chapter 42.
Let's just talk about this chapter forever.
But the next one, there is a dream.
So let's go to the next chapter after that.
That is very unkind of you. There are no ravens in the dream.
Unkind of you to even mention ravens here, but
okay, so the next chapter is Decisions and Apparitions. And this is kind of cool because there isn't really it doesn't, like, the story doesn't really progress in the sense of that they like do anything really storyline wise in terms of physically moving, but you just get a lot.
Sounds like my life.
You just get a lot of info in this chapter. So like, Loyal's explaining how the ways were created, and it was created by male channelers during the breaking of the world. And that's how it all, kind of came to be, and it's a lot faster to travel through them because you can go from point A to point B without actually having to, physically go there in the real world. And you learn that male channelers were invited to the steadings to kind of hold off going insane after the power had been tainted or slow it down. And some went, some didn't go. Eventually all of them ended up leaving, and the ways ended up becoming corrupt. So now people who go into the ways either don't return, and if they do return, they come back senseless, is what Loyal says. And so he's kind of like going through all of this, and Moraine decides that they need to go to Faldara. They need to go through the ways, so Loyal needs to lead them and help them, since he knows his way through them theoretically. And they make a list of everything that they need, supplies, all this fun stuff. They go to bed.
They check it twice.
They go to bed, and they have a dream.
Oh, so before we go into the dream, just because I want to delay the dream talk, but also also the reason why they're going through the ways is Lan, who is an experienced borderlander who can read the signs. He's noticed on their trip to Camelin there are a ton of Trollocs in the countryside, and it's enough that it will start a whole like wide scale war if they actually go out there, if they're discovered. And like them leaving Camelin through one of the Camelin gates to get to Tar Valon or to get anywhere is just going to end in total disaster for the heroes. And so they have to find a new way to do it. And there happens to be a way gate in Camelin.
Yeah.
So they want to do that. Not to mention they also need to shake Elida from being able to be able to do any to be able to get to him.
Right. Yeah. So all of that fun stuff. We can talk about the dream now.
Sure. Yeah, you totally can.
We'll be brief. Matt and Rand go to bed. They both have a very similar dream with Balsamon there, and he's in like a room with a table. And there's 3 figures on the table, and they're each Matt, Rand, and Perrin. And Rand wakes Matt up. They realize that they've had the same dream, and now they've realized that Balsamon can see their faces, he knows who they are. And that's it. That's the dream.
Does he kill rats in this one, or is that a different one?
I don't remember any rats in this one.
Okay, cool. So they have a dream. Yeah, but then I think they do tell Moraine, right? They finally tell her, and she's like, "Oh, I'll help you. I can ward your dreams or something."
Yeah, which she does do when they're in the ways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yay for Moraine. And
yay.
So, I mean, I don't think I'm alone in saying the one of the most frustrating things in any story is the lack of communication between characters about really basic important things. It's not like, so sometimes you can really get away with it, of this is an intensely personal thing that I can't actually express, like if someone got raped or something, you wouldn't necessarily expect them to just go and tell everyone, hey, like this person did this to, like, that's an intensely personal thing that maybe you could say like, oh, well, this guy's going to continue to succeed in his really bad thing because people are dealing with their own personal issues there. It's not just because they don't want to be communicative, but in this case, it always frustrates me. Like, they're having these really intense dreams, really impactful, important dreams, and they finally tell Moraine, and she's like, "Oh, well, I can fix that." And it's like, well, thank God. You don't have to, and I'm like, could you have told her that a long time ago so I didn't have to read more of these dreams?
No, you needed this to happen.
But I like that they're actually having, I mean, Moraine always has her secrets, and that's always going to lead to certain amounts of confusion and mishap for all the different characters involved. But I don't know, I liked that they were able to break through their country stubbornness and actually tell her about this important thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it makes sense, and now you don't have to worry about it as much.
Not as much. Yeah, there's still dreams and weird stuff, but
Right. I mean, you personally, because you hate the dreams.
Oh, so it was this was the one. Oh yeah, so that Rand goes downstairs or something, and he sees a fade in the common room. Isn't that right?
I think so. Or he brings up or no, wait, maybe that's in the ways that he brings up the fade, because they start talking about Tom.
Oh, well, now I'm forgetting. Was it here or is it in Bear Lawn that he sees a fade in the inn and they decide they have to leave right away? Because like for sure he sees a fade.
I think that was Bear Lawn.
Okay. Well, yeah, one way or another, they peace out.
Yeah.
They decide to leave.
They leave the next day in chapter 44.
Very good. In the dark along the ways.
Yeah. So this one is kind of nice because Basil's helping them out again, and he's taking them to the stable by the inn. And there's horses for everyone, including Loyal, who would prefer to walk.
Right. Well, doesn't he say something like he outran? It's either in this book or a different book. He says he outran a horse once.
I think it was this one.
It's just funny. And then at some point, Rand is like, "Oh, he might actually be telling the truth."
Yeah,
it's just funny.
So, this is kind of cool though. So you've got horses for everyone. There's a hidden the back wall of the stable is like a hidden door, so they can go out. It goes into an alleyway in Camelin, and they can go to this house that it has a waygate in it. In the basement,
right? And that's where the old Ogier Grove was, and Loyal is of course just so annoyed. Why would you get rid of trees and put buildings here?
It's true.
He's that guy who would sit in a tree instead of let the construction team like cut it down at a park or something. He's like, it's just gonna be a parking lot, like they save the big old tree. He's that guy.
Yeah, just put the parking lot around the tree.
Right. He's like, if I stay here long enough, we can, we'll save it. But yeah, he's just so annoyed by humans, and they're so hasty. They get rid of their groves, and I don't know. It's just so stuffy and intellectual and endearing, actually.
It's why I like Loyal.
Yeah, well, because he's not malicious at all.
No.
He's just like, oh, this is so sad. I'm so sad. I mourn this, but I don't hold it against you, stupid humans. Like, you guys are so frail and weak. Yeah. I wouldn't. But he's written so well that it comes off as very genuine.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's very genuine. So anyway, so they go into this house. It's in the basement. Horses go in. Everyone's going into the waygate. Moraine's open it. It's just a wall that's been decorated with vines and flowers on it, which I thought was really nice. And they go in. Loyal takes them, and he's clearly reading the guideposts, leading them through there, and they have noted that there is a ton of decay in the ways. And they're going across bridges through these different islands and curving ramps, all this fun stuff. And this chapter just ends once they're at this bridge going between islands, when the bridge just ends, so that they're stuck, and the chapter ends. So I liked this because in terms of relation to the show, I thought the show handled this pretty well, of how the ways was depicted.
The ways was depicted, or the ways were depicted?
The ways was depicted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Just checking to see if you're gonna stand your ground or not.
I am.
All right. Good for you. Yeah, so this was just really interesting. They go through, and it's just this really creepy place, and no one wants to talk, and Moraine's not gonna coddle him either because she's not the coddling sort, and Lan isn't gonna cuddle him because he's especially not the cuddling sort. And so they're all just left with their gloomy thoughts in this really dark, scary place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's fine because they pick it up right away in the next chapter.
Yay. It's like,
yay.
We didn't need to break for chapter, but I have a cool name for the next chapter, so
exactly. I was like, this is a very short chapter, and then the next one is literally the same thing. This all could have been one chapter. I agree.
Gosh, I'm looking through the names of these chapters. You always name our episodes after them. I guarantee you're going to call it Remembrance of Dreams, aren't you? It just occurred to me. just because I don't like the dreams.
I don't have to.
I know I said this to try to trick you away from it. So we'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
We will. We'll see if my daring ploy has led to success or failure for our hero.
I actually wasn't going to call it that, but now I feel like I have to.
Right. I mean, you could call it What Follows in Shadow, because that's the last chapter, and it's pretty cool, actually. That's probably my favorite name.
That's what I was leaning towards, but now you've made the Remembrance of Dreams connection. I feel like I have to go that way. You should have just stayed quiet.
Another unkindness.
You shouldn't have shown your hand here, because now I will take advantage.
There was my hand. All right.
Okay. So you just said
seem the sort to take advantage.
The last chapter we'll go over What Follows in Shadow. This is like the really lengthy one of what happens in the ways.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. But yeah, it doesn't need to be 2 chapters. Anyway, so they're stuck at this bridge. It ends abruptly, and this chapter picks up right there. They can't really do anything. Rand kind of like goes up to the edge of it, and he gets really dizzy and lightheaded, so he backs away. And Nynaeve is blaming Moraine for taking them into the ways, and they should just go back to Camelin. And she's all, being Nynaeve-esque. And Moraine's like, it's fine. Like, we got to go this way. We can't go back to Camelin. We're going to Faldara. We got to go to the Blight. And Loyal will find us another route. And so, that's what Loyal's going to do. And now this is a little sad. Loyal's all pessimistic about finding them, about their chances of finding another route and getting through the ways after he's seen just how much decay has happened in there. It's just a little sad to hear him be sad.
It is sad to see him be sad. Yeah,
it is. And like, even Rand picks up on it. Rand's like, oh, like when all this is over, you can come to Eamon's Field and see Eamon's Field, and you can take me to your steading and I can see your steading, and trying to cheer him up. And Loyal's still all sad and
morose.
Yeah, it's just sad. Rand's trying to cheer him up, and you can't do it, which is, I don't know, I feel like that's it makes me upset to know that Loyal is sad. I feel like he shouldn't be allowed to be sad.
Would you say he's Sag? Someone oh, I remember where I got that from. I won't say. I might make someone mad, but yeah, I won't say that again. Don't worry.
Okay. Please don't.
Don't worry. It was actually said in mockery, but yeah.
All right. I believe you.
Yeah. If it's said in mockery and derision, like, then it's okay, right? I mean, That's what I kind of basically made the argument for.
Okay. We'll discuss at a later date.
I'll let you know.
I'll let
Thanks,
you know.
Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah, so they, they're moving on. Loyal's trying to find them another route, traveling for a while, and Moraine decides that they are gonna have to camp and sleep, get some rest, get some food, and continue on in the next day. And I can't remember if it was Nynaeve or Egwene. I think it was Nynaeve that asked her if she was going to be setting any wards around their camp. And she explains that she's not, because she doesn't want to touch the power while they're in the ways because of all the corruption. And she's, she only wants to do it if she absolutely has to, which was interesting to me, because I didn't realize until this point that you would draw from what's around you. So if what's around you is tainted, would you, even if you are a female channeler, draw tainted power?
Well, I think this is probably more of just she doesn't exactly know what's happening, honestly. Okay. I mean, I don't think that this was, I think it was more like she didn't want to summon the wind, the Machin Shin or whatever.
Right. So she just was being extra cautious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, she doesn't expect there to be any kind of, the only thing that they're afraid of right now, at least, is the wind, the black wind.
Mm-hmm.
And if the power summons it, then there's no reason to set a ward, because the ward would just draw the one thing they're trying to protect, or trying to guard against anyways. So,
right.
It shows a good level of versatility, as opposed to someone who's, oh, well, for safety, you always do this exact predictable thing.
Yeah. Acts. Yeah, exactly. So it's it was just something that I didn't realize, and then it makes sense when you explain it.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does.
It does.
Yeah.
So they're all, kind of sitting around the fire or whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone is super morose. Loyal's mood is contagious. And Moraine's picked up on this, and she starts talking about Tom and how she doesn't think Tom's dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she's just trying to cheer them all up. And they're, they point out that there was a fade. Moraine mentions that she's like, well, they didn't mention anything about when we traveled through there about Tom dying, about a Gleeman dying, and that's not something that would be glossed over or anything like that. So she's just trying to restore some happiness to them, I suppose.
Right. It's just funny. It's almost calculated, though. Even in that, I feel like you could almost just feel the wheels turning in her head. She's like, man, this might go south. I need to keep their morale up.
Right.
Okay. Here's the thing that I could have told them from a long time. I could have just mentioned this to them, but she saved it for a time like this.
Yeah. Because she easily could have said that right away.
Right. It's like packing away your food and supplies. You're going to need them eventually later. She packs away her secrets and her different little tidbits, as you would say, to be able to just pass them on to people as needed.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have people be too happy at the start.
Yeah.
So, and I need that happiness later. Happiness as a commodity. Interesting.
Right. Well, let's tell you who's not happy. It's Egwene.
Oh gosh, yeah.
This is what you were saying, where they're having this whole conversation, and she doesn't really believe Rand. And she kind of gives off this jealousy vibe of Elaine, and it's funny because she's acting this way, and then Perrin just totally throws her under the bus, and calls her on it. And he's like, oh well, that's what about like Aram type thing, and brings up Aaron,
Right.
and Rand's like, wait, who's Aram? And she
Yeah.
just completely like blusters and like, okay.
Yeah, it was
Here
so
it
funny.
is.
Yeah. Well, they're all so young. They can't see the hypocrisy and whatever. Like they're all just jealous. They don't know their hormones are raging, I'm sure. It's just a funny thing. Like Rand and Egwene again have the most awkward relationship in the whole world.
So awkward. It's so awkward. And this like, just proves it.
Right. Do you even like each other? I don't know. They like each other well enough to be jealous and nasty about it. Right.
But then they also don't like each other well enough that they won't entertain other, prospects.
So, get a little side piece going.
So it's just so funny. Egwene is being Egwene, but whatever. And this is where afterwards, they decide they're going to go to sleep, that Moraine helps them with their dreams, and she kind of like whatever it is that she does to block them, letting Rand know that he can sleep because he's struggling to sleep, and then decides that she's like, you're safe here, you're safe with me, your dreams aren't going to bug you, like you're going to be good,
right?
So he can finally sleep.
And this is where at some point at least Lan points out that someone is following them.
Yes. So that's literally the next morning. Once after they've all slept, they move.
I see nothing wrong with either.
They move on. And this is exactly that. Lan points out that somebody or something is following them. And because there's just all this like taint around them, he can't tell if they're in cahoots. I don't ever want to use that word again, but if they're working with the Dark One or not. Right.
Like you think that cahoots would be like one of your fictional animal groupings, like
they are not fictional.
A cahoots of gophers or something.
I wonder if there is a cahoots of something. I'm gonna look that up.
You already promised not to use it again, so we're good.
But now I feel like I have to. But this is like the great part also, by the way, where you see like a little bit of Matt coming through here. He just starts shooting blindly behind them. He's like, oh, somebody's following us, and he just starts shooting blindly at them.
Right.
Which Lan stops him from doing. He's like, we don't know what's going on. Like we don't know who it is. You can't do this. And Matt's just like, well, if they're in the ways, they're not supposed to be here, so they're obviously bad. And it's like, but we're in the ways.
Right.
And it's just such an obvious, like, dude, dummy, we're here too. And it's great to have that little bit because you can see Matt coming back out, even though he's been a dick this whole time. So
no,
nice.
It is nice. You can see some real personality there. It's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's willing to fight. He's got fighting spirit in him again, instead of just, I don't know, being paranoid, and like he's upfront about things and about danger and risk and stuff. Yeah, you get the real Matt for a little bit.
Totally. Nice. So we've got that, and then
so did you know who it was? Who did you suspect who it might be when you were reading it? Who was following them?
No.
Okay. I don't think I did either. I wasn't sure.
I had no suspicions. I was like, oh, somebody's there.
Okay. Yeah.
I figured it was like a dark friend or, a Trolloc or something.
It's Basil Gill.
Yeah. He just wants to tag along.
Yeah.
Poor Basil. No, but so that they move on, and then this is where, and again, like we saw this in the show, the wayposts, the guidings that Loyal's been reading, they've been marked up and they've got Trolloc marks all over them. And that's when Moraine realizes that the Trollocs have been using the ways. That's how they got to Eamon's Field without being caught or noticed or whatever.
Right.
So, and I think this is where they clue in that they're using the ways, but they obviously don't know where all of the gates are, where all the way gates are. So it's going to be a factor later on. And they find some Trollocs that are trapped they're like trapped in stone and rock and
like dead Trollocs who have been like kind of melted into the stone.
Yeah, they've
been incorporated into the landscape. It's pretty grisly. Which
I think Moraine points out that like there most likely were traps set up, because now they're all in a hurry. The urgency is set in to get out of there, but she also wants them to move very slowly as they're going through, to get to the way gate to get out. And she's testing every single, island that they step on before moving to the next one. Anyway, so they're going, and then this is once they're urgently going to, I think they have to cross 2 or 3 bridges before they get to the last way gate. This is where Rand starts to hear Mashinchin.
Right. It's an oddly poetic, really violent and poetic voice.
Yeah.
It's actually, I never really realized just how like almost lovely and mesmerizing the like cadence or whatever you want to call it, that the wind actually was, speaking in the way, drink the blood, stink the screams, and it's disturbing and lovely at the same time, actually.
100%.
But I needed someone to read it out loud to me. Just reading it, it made me feel crazy, actually. But like, just if you look at it, it just looks like mad, and it is madness, but it's somehow lovely madness. It's very interesting to me.
Right. Yeah, it's narrated really well.
Yeah, audiobooks are a thing.
They're fantastic.
Don't need to be literate these days. It's wonderful.
Nope. Yeah, so they do get to this way gate, and that's when Moraine realizes there's no key to open it. So now Rand can hear the voices. Yeah. Matt starts saying that he can feel the wind, like this is happening. So she uses her staff here, and I think she's trying to, I didn't fully understand that. She basically directs flames at it. It's like she's trying to melt the gate open because there's no key. And, Lan starts battering at it, trying to get through once there's just these 2 boulders that are there that are left. And they do end up opening it, and there's light coming through, and they can see that it's daylight on the other side, so to speak. So they do end up being able to get out, and Moraine is the last one out. She's kind of backing out while she then directs the flames towards the Mashinchin to ward it off a little bit, and then the gate closes once she's back out of there, and the wind fades. They slowly stop hearing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So a thing to remember that I didn't really think of when I was first reading it, but whoever was following them is taking the full brunt of this.
Yeah.
Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not think of that. That's a good point.
Yeah. So that adds to, once we eventually find out who it is, it adds to what they are.
Yeah. That's a good point. Ugh, creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually, I can't help myself from comparing the books versus the show. Of course not. But one thing in general, I would say that I do just prefer the books in most things. And that's just going to be a natural thing. I do think one element that I enjoyed more about the show was how they incorporated the wind into this scene, because it added an extra element of storytelling that, whereas in the show or in the books you can hear what's going on in people's heads. It makes Perrin way more interesting. It makes Rand, all of them, way more interesting. In the show you can't do that without a really cheesy like kind of voiceover thing in the
Absolutely.
background. So you need these different elements to demonstrate what's going on in their heads. And the wind was a really good mechanic, or tool, a part of craft to be able to tell the story. And so I
Mhm.
liked that. I don't mind that they didn't just get nailed in the books, but I just want to point that out. What did you think about
Mhm.
it in the show?
I liked it in the show because I think exactly what you just said. It's easier as a device, but it also is easier to take that, and you can manipulate it, which is exactly what the show did, where you can know what it's doing without hearing what it's doing to each character. And then now you can go back later on as a flashback, like they did with Rand, and hear exactly what he heard. And you could go back later on, theoretically, and hear what Moraine hears. Like you can use that as a device.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I liked it. It was pretty fancy.
Yeah. So it was well done. Yeah, and this is the point. Once they've left, they're right outside Faldara. And Moraine kind of makes this comment that Lord Agomar from Faldara should send his men to seal off this gate, and close it, which makes sense because theoretically, like if the Trollocs are using it, they could come through.
Right.
So, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah. So they got to where they're going, and they really didn't travel that much.
Yeah.
I mean, like they just spent a day, and they're suddenly in the Borderlands.
Yeah, they're there. And then chapter
Yep.
ends.
Are we there yet?
We've arrived ish.
Oh yeah. And only one dream chapter. That's good.
Yeah, there you go. You survived.
Whew. All right.
Um,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so who would you label as the most annoying character here?
Who's the Mac?
Who's the Mac?
Egwene.
Okay, good, because I was gonna say Egwene.
Well, because that like Rand wants to hang out with her, be with her. He clearly missed her. She missed him, and now she's just, nah. If you're not going to be serious about this thing, then I'm not going to talk to you. Like, just can you just get over yourself, ever, please, Egwene?
Yeah.
Eventually, like narrator, eventually she does, but holy balls, I'm just, if you don't like him, then just stop.
So
Yeah, stop with this farce.
yeah.
Like, what? Why does she treat Aram so much better than she treats Rand?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
If she's gonna have this dalliance with Aram, which I don't think they, nothing happened between them, but she was clearly interested in him.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would be nice. It'd be nice to see her that she's capable of flirting and doing these relationship-ish things
Mm-hmm.
with Aram. And if she doesn't feel that way about Rand, then maybe just be honest with yourself. One way or another, it grates on me a bit.
Yeah, it's the double standard here that's getting to me.
Right.
So yeah, she's definitely my most annoying character. And also, I feel like everyone else is just not that annoying. So it has to be her.
Like Nynaeve could be a little annoying here.
Right. She is questioning Moraine a lot, but I think that is true to who she is.
Yeah. It's her being a wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's being wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Egwene it is.
All right. Chuck another one down to Egwene.
Yeah, she's racking them up quick.
It's a race between Egwene and Matt at this point, is my guess. I haven't been keeping track.
I need to keep track, but I mean, we have it all written down, but
yeah, we'll let everyone know eventually.
Yeah, who
is the most annoying character in book 1. And actually, we would love to hear who everyone else thinks is the most annoying character in this segment. If you want to tell us on Discord or in a comment on some media platform, we might see it or might not, YouTube. We'd love to hear from you guys who's the Mac in your opinion? We gotta. It'll be fun. Eventually, we can start getting like votes going and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I want to know what people think. So
we could even set up on Discord. We could set up a poll every week and let people vote. We'll wait for a little bit. That could be a cool feature eventually.
Yeah, I could figure that out.
I could too.
Right. I just assume that I will do it.
Right. Well, let's get Bowdy too.
Okay. Someone will do it. Someone will figure it out.
It'll be so good
once
we do.
Yeah. Any final thoughts?
I don't know. I'm excited to talk. I'll be honest. So we're not going to fast forward through book 2 or anything. I'm excited, or book 1 even, but I'm excited to really jump into like. I just want to. It's been a little bit since I read all of these, and I may go back and refresh myself a little bit on book 2. We'll see, but I'm excited to keep moving along and explore all of this stuff. The book 1, I'm glad that it's almost over and we can start on book 2. We really start getting caught up to where we were reading and wise, and then we can,
Yeah.
My favorite book in the series, I make no secret about it, is book 4. I'm excited for the build up to that as well.
I know you've been hyping it up.
I know. I always do that, and people are like, it was good, but it wasn't as good. I'm like, but
we'll see. Book. We'll see how much I like it.
It doesn't suck.
Awesome. Well, on that note, I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah. So we apologize for any unkindness.
It's all in good fun. Yeah. So
most of it.
Yeah, most of it. My part was all in good fun.
Oh, mine was definitely that too, but more than Sarah's. So
it's not a contest, Adam.
It is if you're winning.
Okay. So on that happy note, we'll be back in a week. Now that there's no episode reactions. 1 week.
Sad.
Yes, sad. 1 week. But we will be back with more chapters. But thank you everybody for listening. Thanks for hanging out, Adam, and putting up with my shenanigans.
It's sometimes pleasant, Sarah.
Sometimes you experience pleasant, Sarah. Thank you.
Sometimes.
All right, everybody, Adam, you included. May you always find water and shade.